chances are you've heard of the concept of love languages. You may be thinking that you need your partner to speak your love language in order so that you'll know that they love you. But I want to share perspective to help you understand the truth about love languages so that you can recognize the love that you may already have. Let's talk about it. Most people have heard of the 5 love languages, right? If you haven't, it's a book by Gary Chapman. And in the book, he says that we all have these emotional love tanks inside of us. And when the emotional love tank is full, you feel loved, right? And the way you get your emotional love tank filled is by learning your love language, so then your partner can speak that love language to you. And when your partner speaks your love language, your emotional love tank is full, and then life is better, right? Now, the author identifies 5 love languages that fill these love tanks, all right? He says physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, and then gifts. Now, when I first read the book, I thought that it was a game changer. It helped me understand love in a way that I never understood it. So I thought, right? But as I matured in love, I realized that the concept of love languages is more about feeling loved than actually being loved. The thing is, if you don't mature in your understanding of love, you could end up chasing a feeling, and you'll find yourself walking in pride. You already know how I feel about pride. Pride is dangerous because pride will dress itself up to look like righteousness. So you don't even know you're going the wrong way until destruction shows up. Pride is when you are focused more on yourself than the other, right? Pride is about my needs, my wants, my hurts, my desires. You're not going to walk in love and pride at the same time. But if you keep the concept of love languages as is, without at least giving some weight to what I'm sharing with you, you're going to find yourself walking in pride. My goal today is to help you do love and life better by helping you understand the difference between feeling loved and actually being loved, right? Now, I often hear couples that come in my office and I hear them complaining about being in love with their partner. And they'll say, I'm not in love anymore. And they say it as if it's the most important thing, right? The reason that they say they're not in love is because their partner's not speaking their love language. Like, you're not loving me in a way that I can understand. Listen, feeling in love does not mean that your relationship is good. And like, people for years have been elevating the emotional high of feeling in love to the place of, man, that means our relationship is great. Listen, feeling in love does not mean that you have a strong relationship. And not feeling in love doesn't mean that you have a weak one. As a matter of fact, the strength of your relationship is measured by the amount of love you guys show when things are not good, not when things are great, right? And the truth is, the reason I even began to examine the validity of love languages is because one day I was thinking, and I noticed that the one who loves me more than anyone ever could, he doesn't love me based on my love language. When the Bible talks about God's love, he like going to the cross don't have nothing to do with my love language. And so what I discovered is that love languages, as presented in the Love Languages book, is primarily about how you feel. But love, in reality, is not about making you feel good. It's about making sure that you are good. Okay? Now, of course, love does make us feel things, right? I'm not saying love devoid of feelings. Love does make us feel things when we experience it. But what I'm saying is we elevate our feelings to the place of, if it feels really good, then it must be love. And I'm saying that's not true, right? The feeling that we feel when we are loved, it's a byproduct of love. It's not love itself, right? The feeling of love is not love itself. It's a byproduct. It's like my mama's sweet potato pie, right? So when my mama make her pie, there's an aroma that fills the kitchen when she's making these pies. They smell delicious, but the aroma of the pie will not satisfy my desire for the pie. You feel me? The aroma of the pie is like the feeling of love. See, smelling the aroma of the pie is not the same as experiencing the pie. Just as the feeling of love is not the same as experiencing love. The problem is we live in such a pleasure-driven society that we think that everything that feels good must be love. How you feel is primarily based on what you think and what you believe. It's not about what your partner does, good or bad. Your feelings come from you. They come from your thoughts and your beliefs. That's why it's possible to feel loved without actually being loved, which is the problem with the current understanding of love languages. So I'm gonna come back to love languages in a second, but we need to understand what love really is so we can recognize it when we see it. Okay, so now here's our working definition for love. Love is sacrificial giving, motivated by care for the benefit of the other, and it is primarily for the purpose of meeting their needs. Okay, now when it comes to marriage, there are three kinds of love that we need in order to have a healthy marriage, right? So when I say three kinds of love, what are you talking about? Well, so in English, we use the word love for many things, right? We'll say, I love pizza, and then we'll say, I love my wife. Now, because we all speak English, we understand when I say I love pizza, I'm not talking about the same thing when I say I love my wife, right? I'm not going to die for pizza, but I'll die for my wife. To give us a better understanding of marital love based on how God designed it, I like using the Greek words for love, right? And there's 4 of them, but I want to use 3 of them. The 3 that I want to use is philia, eros, and then agape. If you're going to have a healthy marriage, you need all 3 of these, right? So let me tell you what they are. So the first one, philia. Philia is friendship or brotherly love, right? So you've heard of the city of Philadelphia. They call it the city of brotherly love, right? Philia means brotherly love, right? It's motivated by fondness and friendship. Eros is where we get the word erotic from. This is the sexual attraction between you and your partner. Okay, eros is motivated by biology, chemistry, and sexual attraction. Right? Eros, just so you know, it is the weakest of the 3 when we're talking about relational foundations. But ironically and sadly, it is the one that folk build their relationship on the most. If you build your relationship on eros, it is going to be shaky ground at best. At best, it's going to be shaky. And then the last one, so you got philia, you got eros, and then the third type of love is agape. Now, you probably have heard of agape before. Agape is the God type love, the unconditional love. Agape is the only one of the 3 that are motivated by, not motivated by how you feel. Agape is not motivated by how you feel. Agape is the product of the will, right? I make a choice to love you regardless of how I feel. So when the Bible talks about love, it is almost always talking about agape. When the Bible says, for God so loved the world, it's talking about agape. When Jesus said, hey, love one another the way that I've loved you, he's talking about agape. Interestingly enough, people will get married and then at their wedding, they'll read 1 Corinthians 13, which is talking about agape. But then they get married and agape is nowhere to be found. See, in marriage, you got to have close friendship. You don't want to be distant like you want to be close friends. I need to trust my wife like she's my best friend, right? And in marriage, you want to have good sexual attraction, right? Because, we got a command to be fruitful and multiply, and that's one of the ways we do it. Like sex is not the only way we be fruitful and multiply, right? Just so you know. But it's one of the ways. So we need that sexual attraction. But the power of agape in marriage is this. When the other 2 begin to get weak because they're motivated by some level of mutuality, meaning you do for me, I do for you. Agape is the one that can hold you together while at the same time reigniting the other 2 to come back online. When it comes to love languages, here's my question. Which of the 3 is the author talking about? Like in the book, the closest one to what based on what he's describing, the closest one is eros, which is only for marriage. And actually, I don't believe, if I'm just honest, I don't believe that love languages, as we currently understand them, should be called love languages. I think they should be called like feel good languages or pleasure languages, if we don't call them anything, right? Like words of affirmation make me feel good. Gifts make me feel good. You giving me a gift don't mean you love me. It means you made me feel good. But if I translate that feel good feeling to mean, oh, you love me, I'm setting myself up for a great disaster, right? Just because, I'm gonna keep making this point, just because I feel loved does not mean that I am loved, right? Just because I feel loved don't mean that I am loved. What if I don't actually care as much as my gift made you feel that I care? Right? What if I don't actually care the way that my quality time made you feel like I care? You won't know the depth of my love until it's tested under fire, meaning difficulty. That is why so many people get stuck when their partner does something unloving, right? It's because they were based on how their partner made them feel. They made them think that love was deeper than what it was. And so now you can't imagine how your partner could do something so far from love when you made me feel like I was your whole world. You made that up in your own head, right? So what you may not realize is that love is primarily for the purpose of meeting needs, not making you feel good. Love is primarily for the purpose of meeting needs, not making you feel good. And that, my friends, is my whole point, right? Love is about making sure you are good, but love languages is about making sure you feel good. So then, if love is primarily for the purpose of meeting needs, then what are these needs that it's supposed to meet? Connection needs. My desires for connection are not the same as my needs for connection. Right? My desires for connection may not be is not the same as my needs for connection. Like I may desire to connect with my wife, but I may desire to go hunting with my wife so that we can feel connected. But that doesn't make going hunting with my wife a need. But that's how we treat stuff, right? We elevate our desires to the place of needs, and then we punish people when they don't meet them, and we accuse them of not loving us. So what are the 10 core needs that all of us humans have, right? And if there was such a thing as love languages, I believe it would be these 10. Okay, it would be these 10 as opposed to the 5 that I named earlier. So what are they? Security, protection. Security and protection, that's one and the same. Security and protection, support, respect, encouragement, appreciation, comfort. I need you to comfort me, right? Affirmation or approval, attention, acceptance. I need you to accept me, right? And then affection. Those are the 10. When these needs are met at various times, whenever, when I have the need and it needs to be met, like when I'm hurting and you comfort me, or when I'm feeling unseen, unheard, unvalued, and you show me attention, yeah, that makes then I know then that I'm full of love. I'm being loved in that moment, right? Because now we are connected, and when we are well connected, we're full of love, and that's when we thrive. Okay? Now, let me say this. I am not saying that buying flowers or spending quality time playing phase 10 with your husband is meaningless, right? I'm not saying that. Also, I'm not saying that wanting to feel good is bad. I want to feel like, I don't know a human who doesn't want to feel good. Feeling good is not a bad thing. What I'm saying is putting feel good in their proper place and perspective is necessary. In other words, don't elevate your pleasures to the seriousness of love. Like don't do that, right? Think about it. Would you rather feel rich or be rich? Like, would you rather feel healthy or actually be healthy? Right? And yes, I know you're saying, well, I want both. I do too. But I also want you to stop chasing the emotional high of feeling in love. And I want you to learn how to recognize when you're actually being loved. Okay? Yeah. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you're able to pull some stuff out of here to apply to your life so that you can stop punishing your partner for not being in love with you or for not speaking your love language. I want you to look for them actually loving you and then give weight to that. Okay. We'll talk about that more next time. Listen, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll talk to y'all next time.